In the meantime, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has reacted to the intervention of the government of Ukraine after they donated 25,000 tons of wheat as emergency food assistance to 1.3 million vulnerable Nigerians in the northeastern region of the country. Peter Obi, in a series of tweets on X, described the development as disheartening. His tweet reads in part, "Let me begin by sincerely appreciating the war-torn nation of Ukraine for their generous donation of tons of grains to Nigeria, thereby aiding our current fight against nationwide hunger. It is disheartening that our once economically confident nation, blessed with vast arable land and abundant natural resources, now relies on a war-torn Ukraine for food assistance. This national disgrace stems from years of leadership failure, necessitating urgent reflection and a reordering of our national priorities and resource management and allocation. Despite the conflict, Ukraine feeds itself and exports agricultural products worth over $25 billion, which is about the same value as our crude oil export earnings. And it serves as a strategic global food supplier, even providing aid to a peaceful yet unproductive Nigeria. To overcome this embarrassment, we must aggressively reorder our priorities by investing resources in productive sectors like agriculture. Addressing insecurity is crucial for farmers to return to their fields, enabling a productive manufacturing sector and supporting small businesses." I mean, I love this type of criticism, Rufai, because it's not just about criticizing, it's about also proffering solution. I mean, I think that, Peter Obi did write in that tweet that he wrote, because he did compare our arable land as well as Ukraine, saying that Ukraine is using up 60% of their arable land for food production, and they are supplying Nigeria with food. What's going on here?
And also, when you look at Ukraine, there's a plan. I think some literature say 50 to about 80 million hectares of arable land in this country. Many years ago, we used to use that land so well that we used to provide about 1/3 of the tomato in the West African sub-region, about 65, 66, thereabout. As at the 70s, I think it was 73 or 74, we had one of the biggest cocoa windfall where we did over 400,000 metric tons of cocoa. And we've pretty much hovered around that 400,000 from 50 years ago till now. Also, we had a lot of groundnut pyramids. We're good in millet. We're good in other things like that. And still, funny enough, we're doing very well as regards to tubers. But the grains have not been good enough for us. So when you see criticism like that, it's well on point.
Yes. Because
it's the squandering of our riches. And makes it 41 years now, Yeka, when we did that documentary, Squandering of Our Riches, NT at the BBC. And when you look at it critically, it's because we've not been able to plan. So take, for instance, last year, the president promised 150,000 hectares will be cultivated across 36 states of the country. If that was done, then to a large extent, we should be able to get some leeway. I'm sure, okay, probably if we would say they can't go across 36 states. I know states like Lagos, does not have a lot of land, very small. I mean, in square meters. States like Ogun has a lot of land, about 15,000, 16,000 square kilometers of land. States like Niger can do even multiple. But insecurity is stopping us. So at first, how quickly can we stop the insecurity problem? Secondly, also incentivize farmers to be able to go back to the farm and ensure that they cultivate. For having a storage system, because another problem about cultivation is post-harvest losses. So having a storage system. And also embracing technology and value addition in agricultural value chain. So take, for instance, the Netherlands does very well in agriculture, but they have smaller land compared to Nigeria. But they've been able to do well and harness their resources. So how can we, if my memory serves me right, Nigeria should be bigger than Ukraine in terms of land. I think Ukraine is about 600,000 square kilometers of land or thereabout, if my memory serves me right. But they can still churn out grain, and I think they're about the 6th or 7th largest producer of grain. And I'm sure that's because of the war. If not because of the war, they should be doing way better than that in numbers. So it's about looking at these holistic touch points I've talked about and investing massively in them.
Great solutions, Rufai. Dr. Abati.
Well, the key point here is that Mr. Obi is right, and it's all about leadership.
Yes.
Ukraine is one of the major exporters of agricultural products in the world. And it didn't start today. There's something they call sunflower meal. There is wheat, barley, corn, and some seeds. You will recall that as part of the crisis in this war, this Russia-Ukraine war, you know, Russia wanted to block Ukraine from exporting food. But to the main point made by Mr. Peter Obi, that Ukraine is at war and yet is providing food aid to a country like Nigeria, where the whole of the arable land in northern Nigeria is more than all the arable land in Ukraine. That's why I say it's about leadership. It's about productivity, which... Mr.
President, being represented here, and His Excellency the Governors, let me very respectfully stand on all due and existing protocols. First is to most sincerely thank leadership for this event, thank our keynote speaker. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. And I thank all that are gathered here. For me, I always say this award is, I'm grateful to the Almighty God that I had this opportunity, and always opportunity whenever possible. I've said it this every day. I am not desperate to be president of Nigeria. I'm desperate to see Nigeria work. I'm desperate to see Nigeria fight poverty. And I listened to what the keynote speakers said today. And you could see it in my tweet yesterday. We have no reason being part of poverty in the world, especially in the North. The North have no reason to be poor. We will make more money in this country from agriculture than we make from oil any day, anytime. Because it's happening everywhere. I read yesterday that Ukraine is giving Nigeria grain. Ukraine is at war. The whole of northern Nigeria is 268,000 square kilometers. Ukraine is 603,000 square kilometers. They have no reason to give us grain because we have the land. Why are they giving us grain? Because 60% of their land is cultivated, 60% of our own is uncultivated. And the people even say it's for Northeast. I might be governor of Niger State is here. Niger State can feed Nigeria. Niger State can feed Africa. Niger State is occupying 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land. They can feed Nigeria. Netherlands, with 33,000 square kilometers, which Niger State is twice, exported last year $125 billion of agricultural products. Niger State can do 5% of that, which is $6 billion. They don't need to come to Abuja. Northeast is collapsing. They say there's a problem in the Northeast. It shouldn't be. The two biggest states in Northeast, Borno and Taraba, combined, Borno alone is over 70,000 square kilometers. Taraba is 54,000. Two of them combined is 125,000 square kilometers, 4 times the size of Belgium, at 30,000 square kilometers. And Belgium is doing over 20 billion export. There's so much we can do with this country. Let people stop wasting everybody's time and put these young people that are giving us problems in terms of criminality out of poverty, and you reduce criminality. The more you put people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality. It's a simple, people make it look difficult. Let's invest in the North. We have what it takes to make Nigeria. Let's do it now.